Hello, we are here to discuss Business Central and how you can maneuver around in the system, do some personalization, and just some overall basic features of the system. So the first thing that I want to talk about, if you are up here where the toggle wheel is, that I can come down here and under My Settings, I can change the role if I have permission to do so. That will allow me to change what the role is or the profile that I'm looking at. So the first one here is just that I'm in business manager. There could be accountant. Some of these are president of the company, inventory manager, shipping and receiving. So these ones are standard in Business Central. Then I also have some up here that can be done as a customization as an overall company option. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it in as a business manager. While I'm up here also on this My Settings area, I can change my company if I wanted to. So I can do a lookup and I can change to a different company if you have multiple companies in your system. I can also change the work date. So if I wanted to, if it ends up being into October and I want to make sure everything that I enter is in September, then I can go ahead and change that information. I can also add teaching tips, so it will go ahead and show me options as I'm maneuvering through the system. I'm going to go ahead and select OK. While I'm up here, I also have where I can come down in here and then select whatever company that I might want. If I wanted a different company, I have the option of switching to that company. If I do a drop down here, I can open that company into a new tab. So I can have multiple companies open at the same time if I wish. It's just going to open up here and show it in the different tab. So the other thing that while I'm in here is the search. Search is very important in the system. It will help you find something that you might be looking for. And then once you find it, you can also bookmark it. So for example, if I come in here and I want to look up a trial balance report, it shows in here if I come down that I see 3 reports that are available. I also have over here where I can show 16. So if I do the show 16, it will open up and show me all the trial balance reports that are available. I do not need to have trial balance as the beginning part of the word. It actually can be any part of the word. It shows that information. If there's something I want to make sure that I don't have to search for it again, then I can mark it. They call it bookmark or like a shortcut, and that'll hold it and bring it out onto my main screen. So if I close this down, you'll see that I have it on my main screen. I can also just run the report from my search. So if I come in here for the search and I put in the trial balance again, and I just go ahead and select the report, so it would just come up and run it, and then I'm good for there. So a couple things while we're in here, I have the ability to select and pick a different printer if I needed to. I also, if there's multiple report layouts available for that particular report, maybe like customer statements, you might have some customized ones, or a sales invoice report, then I can go ahead and select using these dots here. I also have the ability down here, if I preview it, it'll preview it prior to printing it. The same with the print. Under my send to, I can send it out as a PDF, so I don't have to print it to my PDF printer. It will print to my PDF printer. I can send it out as an XML. I have Word. I have 2 options for Excel. So one is Excel with the data and the layout. So that'll keep all the headers and footer information in place. And then the data only does make it more looking like a true Excel where it has the columns of the data. It might be more information than you want and not as pretty as you want, but it is an option that is available. Schedule is an option that allows me to schedule it to run at a later point in time, and you can always schedule things to run on a daily or a weekly basis. So those are the options under the print. The next thing under the search I wanted to bring up was I might be looking for, say, number series. So I type in number, and what the system does is it comes up with tariff numbers, number series, and item tracing, and some additional options also. So tariff number makes sense. That's what I typed into the system. Number series, it uses it if it sounds like the word. So that'll also help you if you just want to type in sometimes just a thought or an idea about something. Item tracing is the ability to search for lot number or serial number. So it uses it in the terminology of it. Another option you have with the search is that the search doesn't have to necessarily be in the order of something you're looking for. So if I'm looking for sales and receivable setup and I type it in with the words going in a different order, then the system will find that and still work with it. Okay. And even that tax rate change setup, there's the set part. The sale part deals with sales tax. So it does try to help you find information as much as possible. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is you also have under here for the help. So this will help if you are on a particular area and you go into help and support, it'll find that information for you. You also have keyboard shortcuts, a community area, and if I go under sales or help and support, then I have the ability to see what capabilities are coming out in the current releases that are being released. And it also helps with some of the analysis and troubleshooting, and also what version of the product are you on. So I'm going to back out of here. So we talked about changing the profile. We talked about putting things in as a shortcut. You can have as many shortcuts as you want. It'll make multiple rows. So the other area is, once again, I'm in as a business manager. So these are the drop down, and this is what Business Central has put in there for any of my drop downs related to business manager. So I'm going to talk about the ability to personalize that in just a moment. Oops, I hit the wrong screen here. Let me come back. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about the screen here and then how we can make some changes to it. So the first is obviously the drop downs there, then my shortcuts here. Under here is action. So this just lets me create a new sales quote, create a new purchase order. I can find entries. I can search for data in the system, also create some new customer or vendor, and then I have reporting options. This right here is what we call a headline. So it just allows me to see information. As I come down, we also have what we call cues or tiles. So the cues are the ability to see the information that I want. I can also color code them. So I have a green, a yellow, and a red, and I set those myself. If I come in here under activities, set the cues, then I can come down here and I can color code it and put in my dollar amounts. So these can be set for me when I'm looking at that information. I also had the ability to color code the tiles down here. So tiles let me select into this piece of information. In this case, I'm going to see my 10 open sales invoices, and I can modify or adjust any of those invoices that I want. I could post them if I needed to, but it lets me see quick, easy access to information. I also had the ability to, from my camera on my computer, to take a picture with using my camera there. As I scroll down, there's some user task information. Emailing is super important in the system. So it tells me if I have any draft, if I sent any emails out, do I have any failed emails in my inbox? So as long as that stays zero, it's green. If it goes above zero, then I have it set for a red. If I'm using any intercompany approvals, once again, more tile of information. As I scroll down as business manager, then I can see different chart of information. I can select a different chart if I wanted to. I can name my favorite accounts. I have the ability to put a trial balance report here. I can also integrate with Power BI. So this just also lets me run and adjust and set different reports. Then this is where I was talking about an inbox, and I can have it run on a regular basis and output that information. So there you'll see that it ran a trial balance report. I can share this out if I wanted to. I can open it in OneDrive. It's being stored in OneDrive also. So if I come back up here to the top, I can go ahead and make some changes in the system that is only going to affect what I'm looking at. So if I come in here and I want to personalize the screen, so I want to take a little bit of this information off. So I can come back up here under the gear, I can select personalize, and then I can come into any of the areas. So if I drop that down, and maybe I don't want to see these cash flows. So I can come in here and I can say hide. I can say hide, and you'll notice that the system still leaves them there. It just makes them in a little bit of a gray area so that I don't have to see them on a regular basis. Maybe I don't want to see my headline, so I can come down here and I can hide that. I can come over here, maybe I don't do sales quotes, and maybe we don't do purchase quotes, so I can hide that information. And if I come down here, once again, I can also change and hide or remove any of these. If I don't see my hide, then I can go ahead and just bring that down. And so sometimes remove is the same as a hide, or I can do them individually. I can remove them if I wanted to. So you have the ability to do that throughout the screen. And you'll notice that I have some down here where I have it as a hidden option so that it just stays hidden. So once I can also go into the different individual screens to do it. So I'm just going to say done. And now when I come up here and I go under cash management, I'm not seeing those additional fields. If I come back up here, my action is different and also my headlines. I can also open up something. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead into the vendor and I'm going to open up a vendor card. So we're just going to go ahead and take this first one here. And I'm just going to go ahead and shut that down for a moment. So you'll see right here where it has show more, I have a show more and I have a show less. So if I come over here to show more, these are actually all the available fields that are there. If I do a show less, then a few on this side, they disappear. So to control that is you're going to come back into your personalization. And when I come in here, all right, so if I do my show more, there's my fields. And then if I select this, I have an option where I can move it. I can remove it completely. I can show it always or show when collapsed. So if I have it there, but I don't have it selected with one of these, then when I do show less, it's going to remove it from the view. So if I come up to here for my balance field, because that one was always showing, there's the option for it to be under show more. So it'll move it or remove it. All right. So if I come here and let's just do this one, and I'm going to say show under show more. So now if I go to show more, it's gone. And when I show less, it comes back. So you have the different options of doing that. Like I said, you can also move it. So if I wanted to, let's just go ahead and take this field here and I'm going to remove it. And then I go, oh, maybe I do want it back, or I want to see what are my other fields that are available. Then I can come here under field and I can see all the fields that are available and I can search on it. So I can come in here and there was the field that I removed and I actually want to bring it back and it'll drop it in. So the red kind of shows where it's going to place it. So I can technically bring in any fields and I can move them to anywhere that I want. So if I want to bring it in here, then it'll drop it in and I'll have that information. So this just allows me with my fields to control that information and once again to show more or show less. I can also take information underneath my drop downs. So I'm just going to go ahead and say done for the moment. And if I come in here and let's just look under vendor. So I'm looking at this information and maybe some of these, we're not dealing with inventory. All right, so I want to go ahead and take that off because I just don't want to confuse myself when I'm looking at this information. So I can come in here under personalization, come over here, and I can tell the system to hide that item references. And that way I'm not seeing that information. I could actually take the whole thing away if I wanted to. So maybe if I don't do pricing or discounting, I can move that. I can also promote things up to the area. So sending an invoice or sending an email was an option and I just dropped it onto the bar. The same with a purchase order, I can just drop that information in there. So if I come in here and maybe I have purchase invoice, I can actually just move it up here and it'll stay up here as an option. And the same thing with any of these coming down, I have the ability to move them on or off or take it where I just don't need to see it, or I can open it up and then make changes from there also. So this is where the power of the personalization comes. It's really important as a user that you change and adjust the system as you want. All right, so if I come back over here, I'm going to say done. And now you'll see I have the purchase invoice there. I have the ability, if I do show more, show less, it's going to take and remove those fields as I need them to. Now, if I want to, I can always come back into personalization again, and I'm going to see some of the information that I've changed. As I see the more there, I can have some areas that might be darked or grayed out. So I know kind of some of the changes. I always have the ability to clear the personalization. So that'll be a big help, that you can, clear it, start it all over again if you want to know the new ones that are out there. If Microsoft sends an update to something or adds a new field, it's going to show it for you. So you might have to go in every now and then and do personalization again so that you don't see that information. So kind of done with the personalization a little bit. Another option you have is you can go ahead and collapse the tabs. So if I don't really want to see all of them, maybe when I'm entering information, it's just really important that I see the invoicing or the payments side of it. I'm going to show less here. And on the receiving, I'm going to collapse that down. And so that way I don't have to see that information. I can promote things to be seen in the tab here. That's an option also when I'm doing that information. And then the thing that also was over here on the expand the facts box. So there's a couple options here. One of them is it talks about the vendor information, the buy from vendor history, attachments. I can come in here, see if there's any attachments, any links, or any notes. I can also personalize this information. So if I come back over here to the personalization, and maybe, as you can see, I've hidden the picture of the vendor, but maybe I don't really care to see outstanding orders because I'm not doing orders. Maybe I'm only doing purchase invoicing. So I can go ahead and remove that information so it just doesn't clutter up. Maybe they're not a customer also. So I would just want to go ahead and remove it. I want to see only the pieces I want to see. Maybe I don't want to see blanket orders. So I can remove it and I can bring them back if I needed to. All right, and then you'll see that there are some that are hidden. And once I'm done, it'll go ahead and update that information, and I'm only seeing what's important in the system. So personalization, there's a lot of information, a lot of things you can do with it, and it's very important to understand it because you want to be able to just do your job and not see so much information. I'm going to come back over here and kind of still back on the main screen. One other thing I wanted to hit upon is these three lines here. And what this is going to do is just allow you to see everything that is under your particular profile. So you kind of see it in one place and it's not just what's been displaying on the screen. You see all the different options. You also have explore more roles. There's a reports option, and this would just allow you to see maybe under the general ledger some of the other reports that are available that you weren't even aware of. The same under customer, there's 27 reports under customer, 19 reports under payables, fixed assets. Then I can just go ahead and select this line and I can go ahead and move back, select that. I could either do the arrow again or just go back underneath the company and it takes me back to the main screen. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is I'm going to go here under vendor. And this is a table view. All right, so I can go ahead and sort any of my columns here that I want. So if I want to put it in order, I can do location. I can also come in here under the little drop down and I can set a filter on that column, or I can filter to the value that's there. So if I filter to the value that's there, it's the yellow value because that was the line that I was on. If I wanted to, I can come in here and I can clear the filter. I can come over here and select the filter, and it brings up the filter option here. And I can technically filter on anything in the table that I'm looking at or anything on the vendor card itself. So let's just say we come in here and I want to go ahead and filter on balance not equal to 0. So I filtered on that. I have this and I'm like, this is a great view. I want to keep it on a regular basis. So I can just select to save as balance due. All right, so it's going to give me one that has a balance due. I can technically, as I said, I can come in here. Let me go back over here to all. So I get all my vendors and I want to do a different one. So I want to select here and I'm going to do contacts and anybody that has a blank contact because I want to work through fixing these and get these all adjusted. So once again, I can come up here and do a save and save that view. Now this view right here that I'm saving, these are mine. They're not company-wide views. They're just all the views. And I don't even have to save the view on something that is a filter. I can sort the name and I can save this as a view, save as name order. Because maybe I want to look at it in name order and I don't want to look at it in number order. And I can also, as I stated, I can set a filter on something that I'm not seeing. All right, so I'm not seeing the column for state. And so I'm going to just search here and I can bring in state and I can say anybody that has a blank state. So I know that I need to fix these ones that do not have a state code. And maybe they don't have a state because they're not a domestic vendor. So I can add a second vendor posting or filter here. And I'm going to do domestic because I have a feeling those are my ones that are in the US maybe. So I have a few here that are missing some information. So once again, I could save this or I don't have to save it. Maybe I just want to know that and I don't want to save it as a view. All right, so I could take this information because I want this fixed and I can just go ahead and I can output it to Excel. I could copy the link and I could send it to someone. I could share it in Teams if I wanted to. And then edit in Excel just allows you to do a massive update in the system. All right, but it could be something as just as easy as open in Excel. It puts it out to an Excel file. I send it off to somebody and say, hey, we need to fix these. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just remove that one because I don't really want it to be saved. All right, so this just allows you to quick and easy look at different filters in the system. I can shut this down. And then right here, I also had the ability to just pull it up. So if I wanted to, I'm back to working on my blank contacts. I'm going to go into each one of these at a time, add that information, and then it'll go ahead and update this filter and take these vendors out of the list. So setting and saving the views are important because you want to be able to look at only the information that you care about, and saving them prevents you from having to type it in multiple times. So if I come back here and I just look at the chart of accounts, I have some that are saved. So one of them is income. So if I come in here, it's only my income statement accounts, not my balance sheet accounts. So if I wanted to just quickly be able to look at that information. If I come in here and I set some totals, so I'm going to do a date and let's just do April of 22. All right, so I set those dates. So what that allows me to see is the net change is everything that posted in April of 2022. And this is my current balance of 2023. So this allows me to, in a sense, do an online trial balance so I can easily take a look at the information. But if I wanted to, I could save this as a filter also because I have my ability to do my save up here. So I can do save and I can rename it. And let's just say it's income and it's April 2022. You could filter for a whole year and have that information. So if I wanted a comparison of last year to through current time frame this year, I can do that. So 2022 through, let's just do September 29, 2022. All right, so the net change is anything, whoops, one too many twos there. So this is last year, this is this year. So I can, once again, I can take that information and I can open it in Excel. It's going to take all these lines, it's going to put it out to Excel, and I'm very easily going to have a trial balance report in a sense or a financial that's related to this year and compared to last year. So I have that data and I could make it obviously look a little bit nicer. All right, so these are just some of the filters related in the chart of accounts. Once again, how you can save them. This one happens to be income and anything that is a marketing dimension. So if I come into here, then this is going to display that it's marketing is my department. So just Filtering is super important. You can do it most places in the system, and you just want to be aware that you can save the filtering. So we kind of talked a little bit about the Excel side of it. I'm just going to go ahead and hit on these or the waffle icon or the app up here, app launcher. And this just shows you that you can open up and access into any of the ones that are a Microsoft product. So I can open up my Outlook if I wanted to, and I have direct access to that information in there. I come back here while it's opening. I could also open up to my Teams. So that allows me to also connect and see certain fields in the team side of it. So I can see reports, my financial reporting, which used to be account schedules. I can also see if I need to do any approvals. I have access to purchase invoices, purchase orders. And on the mail side of it, I can also from here, I can create new documents. If I get an email in from a company related to buying something, from here, I can create a purchase invoice very easily. And then like I stated, on the team side of it, I can see that information also. So I can link to my Business Central, as you can see here, and I can see my sales invoices if I wanted to. I can see my customers. I had the ability to add additional pieces. So this is the ability to run a report. If I come in here and I'm just going to do my sales invoices, then I'll be able to see any open sales invoices that I have in the system. So there's my 10 sales invoices that I had earlier. So you can do things just from Teams and not have to go directly back into your Microsoft Business Central product. So it's really important to understand the access to that and the ability to put things to Excel. So one of the other options you have is, I'm just going to type in here for general ledger entries. And so I have all my general ledger entries here. And maybe I want to set a filter on it. So once again, we're going to come in here and I'm just going to, let's see if I have anything in 2023. I have some entries for 2023. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. So I know I have my filter for 2023, and maybe I'm just going to sort it in my GL account number, and I'm going to go ahead and select Analyze, and that just allows me to take my information and it pushes it out to Excel. So I can come in here and I can select for my columns, and maybe I want to do it by department. So I'm just going to drag my department down, and then it opens it up and it gives me all the transactions that are related. So blank ones are probably my balance sheet accounts. And then I have additional ones that just give me the information. And I can do a lot more. I can sum additional pieces. I can add additional sorting of the information. I can do an analysis of it. I can put it in a pivot mode. So, and I can save them, and then I can rename them if I wanted to. So I could name it whatever I wanted. So this just allows me to bring them up again, and I have that information. Anywhere that I can see in an Excel format, then I can do that analyze. So you'll notice I even have it here, and I could analyze, and maybe I could group information by my posting groups. So if I come down here, drag it, and you'll see that it's summing on many things. So then I can have an easy, quick way to know what's my values by my posting group without running a report. That information is going to be right there. So the Analyze is a pretty cool little option also. Another thing, just to kind of hit on a couple areas here. If I go ahead and I'm just going to go into, let's just go into a sales invoice. And this is anywhere in the system. So I'm picking a sales invoice, but it could be a purchase invoice. It could be a journal. It could be a batch of information. And this is just something that is a nice newer feature. It's been around for a little bit of time, but just the ability to do a preview posting. So I have the option for it to run. It's going to tell me if I'm missing something. All right, so it's got a problem with the dimension code value, the way it's being set up. So I'm going to come back out of here and I'm going to go up here under invoice, and I should have dimensions, and I'm going to change this. Oh, maybe not. Come down here. I don't have that information, so I'm not going to be able to post that. So the preview posting shows you the GL accounts it's going to hit, or it shows you any errors that you have that you might need to fix ahead of time. Okay. Another option within the system is just attaching documents. So really quickly here, we're going to come in and we're going to do a general journal. And we have some lines in here. If I come over here, I have a couple options for attaching a document. I can do incoming document, and I can do select an incoming document, and it'll allow me to have them already stored in the system, or I can bring it in and attach it as a brand new document. I also have the ability to, under here, I have where I can come down here and you can see I have one already attached, and then I can do attach file, and I can just pull in any file. The system does a drag and a drop, so I'm just pulling in this PDF, and then it'll have that vendor file and then a supporting document of the PDF. I also have it where I can do it as just an attachment and then just drop that onto the document also. So it'll post through on the journal and that you can see it after the fact. If I come over here and I'm just going to do purchase invoices. Once again, I'll just open it up and I'll bring into that one where I talked about I can attach it. And then if I do attachments, it doesn't matter here, the same thing. I can just bring it in. PDF, I can do a Word document, an Excel file, a CSV. I can download it. I can open it in OneDrive. I can flow it down if it's on a vendor that I'm attaching it to or a customer. I can flow it down to the transaction that it's attached to. So it would always be in the purchase invoices and it'll stay in the purchase invoices. So the last thing that I just kind of wanted to talk about, we mentioned a little bit, or two things. One is the improved ability to email information out. So if I come back over here, I'm just going to go ahead and pick on sales orders that I have a post and a send. So the system knows that when I'm sending it out, if I have these set up on the customer to be emailed out, it will email them out. If I don't have anything attached on the customer, then it will go ahead and print it out. So it knows when I'm doing something with the document, then is it going to be a post and a send? We'll either send it via email or it'll send it to the printer. So you don't have to tell the system or run two different processes for it. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that the system, because you are on a URL now, can be accessed via your phone, a laptop, or tablet. Through SharePoint, you have many options to get to the system, and you can run the system from many places. All right, and I think that's all for now. I appreciate your time. Thank you.